on our subject today
Yeah.
of AI and music,
Yes.
AI and the music industry, AI is a system that absorbs huge amounts of data and then learns from that huge amount of information and then recreates different versions of that. So, for example, in the area of music,
Yeah.
taking existing music, the performance of an artist, teach
Yep.
AI what is this artist's performances like, and then say, hey, here are my lyrics.
Done in that person's voice. It doesn't sound phony. It sounds
Right.
legit.
There's the deep fake Drake. Welcome to Cool Life Podcast, brought to you by therealthingdating.com. www.therealthingdating.com.
Polydor Records for out scouting. This girl grabbed my bangs and ran my head right into the speaker.
Oh,
And everyone cheered like this. Yeah.
When we shot the scene in Good Will Hunting, I didn't know who most of these people were at the time. I mean, they weren't stars. It was Gus Van Sant that directed it. Gus Van Sant was on the floor with Matt Damon's character. I didn't even know who Matt Damon was at that time.
I'm Eva John. I'm a former candidate for local government. I was a children's television entertainer, and I love this world, and I believe we should take care of each other and have a lot of fun along the way. Welcome to Cool Life. Here we go. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so, welcome to Cool Life Podcast. I'm Eva John, and today we have composer, musician, singer, songwriter, recording artist, John Stewart.
Here I am again.
Yeah, so it's so nice to have
Beautiful.
you here, John.
Thank you. I
And
love being here. It's fun.
you write amazing music, and you're such a
Oh,
terrific
thank you.
person, such a down to earth, fantastic human being with amazing creativity. And it's
Thank you.
always a pleasure to have you here. You are always welcome. You're very
Oh,
welcome.
thank you so much.
And I know that you certainly come as a voice of authority in the industry of
Yeah.
music. You have played international stages,
Yep.
major large stadiums with thousands
Mm.
of people, as well as intimate settings in
Yep.
Canada, all over the world. So, on our subject today
Yeah.
of AI and music,
Yes.
AI and the music industry, to know someone who is writing music the authentic way, the original way,
Yeah.
and someone who's certainly seen the transitions
Mm-hmm.
in the music industry because technology is constantly bringing the music industry forward so quickly
It
in
is.
so many different areas.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to tell us, like,
Mm-hmm.
or I can start with like first off,
Sure.
AI.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know or understand, AI is a system that absorbs, reviews huge amounts of data, huge
Mm-hmm.
amounts of information, and then learns from that huge amount of information and then recreates different versions of that. So, for example, in the area of music,
Mm-hmm.
if you expose AI to, which is just basically a computerized brain,
That's right.
you expose it to different types of music, and
Mm-hmm.
so it can constantly make a different comparison of all that music, learn
Yep.
from all of that music. Now, AI isn't really doing what an artist like yourself does and creating something new and authentic that may have never existed before, or propelling the industry forward in a different way. It is
Yeah.
simply regurgitating different configurations, like shuffling a deck.
That's right.
Same,
That's right.
same deck.
Well, let's say the key word here is yet. I think when it comes to AI, it's yet. It's not doing it yet, but you're right. It's exactly what it's doing right now to make it known. They're exactly what you're saying. Like it's taking all the information that it has provided, and no matter how much that information is, it will bring you something. It will give you exactly a final product. The Beatles recently did used AI in one of their very last song that they ever wrote together as a band, and to go out in a finale like that with a song, and they generated an entire verse structured on John Lennon's voice alone.
Right.
That's incredible.
It's incredible that it can do something that we would have a lot of difficulty doing without that technology.
Yeah.
But the technology is really just a tool. It's not that it couldn't be done, but it would
Yeah.
be very difficult to do it. And in
Mhm.
fact, again, because it's shuffling a deck, it's dealing with
Yeah.
something that exists already. A human being that's creating something is creating something that never existed before,
Yeah.
and inspiration is limitless. AI
Yeah.
technology isn't actually using the concept of inspiration. I don't
That's
know
right.
if it can learn to do what a human does, just because, for example, with AI imagery, I find it to be sometimes a little gross, because
Yeah.
you can tell AI certain concepts and combinations that you're aiming for,
Characteristics, yeah, you can
but
see
it
that.
doesn't have life experience to say,
It
but
doesn't.
if I mix these things together, it's going to gross people out. So it's
Yeah.
not just enough to say that you want to have a fairy princess riding a winged horse. It may mix up where those wings should go.
It
Right?
well, this is it. Like when I was using for my I just recently posted 2 videos playing around with an AI app, and just to see what kind of video would I get out of it. Just what's out there right now for anyone. The point and the exact point of it doing this was to show that this is what's out there right now at anyone's use. And this is not some I had to go way outside the box to find. I could find this and download this in 2 minutes, and then poof, I got a video. Now, mind you, it's still, I think, at the quality stage where it's it's like you're putting on a stamp on something. It's like putting on a, uh, like a back in the day, you would have had like the cheap sleeves for, for your CDs,
Right.
whatever. It's a little bit like that right now, right? And when it comes to the digital world, it is a bit like that. So you're creating something that is just literally like like making a painting. You're making a piece of art yourself that is still of that just kind of basic generic quality, right? It's not. However, mind you, I got to tell you though, it is pretty wild what you can make it do. What you can make it generate is pretty interesting. And what I find is it does learn. It learns after you can build on it. So you tell it to do one thing. What I found was I could say I want a man in a white hair, blue eyes, and a long black cloak, standing on water with flames shooting out his feet. If I said that, is exactly what I'll get.
Right.
But it is like you said, where the flames are coming from may be a little weird
Because
because
it doesn't have life experience.
no, it doesn't have life
So
experience. Yeah,
it doesn't know what's palatable to us, or what
no,
might end up being
no.
like distasteful, or might gross us out a little bit,
Oh yeah,
or it mix it up and think, well, the
yeah,
feet are busy in the water, so let me
that's
help
right.
you out, and I'll put the
Yeah.
flames coming out of his ears. There you go.
Well, that's exactly what happened in a lot of these shots. There were so many of these shots that I tried that were, I probably spent, I'd say maybe 2 full days on just playing around with the app, see what I can do.
Cool.
After a while, it gets to know what you want,
Yeah, it
and
learns.
it learns, and it will generate for you what you're looking for. But you have to do the strip. You can't give it too much at first, because too much at first, then it just says I can't do it. Basically, is what it says. It's a basic generic online AI app, video app. I thought I'd just try it for fun, see how it works. Well, it was on my birthday. I thought, I'll just buy this.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely.
Well,
And
there's different levels of it too, right? Because
yeah, like I got a really cool animation of it. I thought it was very cool. There are certain things that were cool about it, but when I use this on a full scale level, not this one, but it is fun.
and that's the thing, it exists now basically for anyone to have their hands on.
Yes.
In the fact that in the music industry, new material can be created, and depending on the program being used, the level of the program being used.
Exactly.
It can be considered copyright free because
Yes.
that music didn't exist before.
That's right.
Some programs, if you don't have the right level in that
Yeah.
program, then that app and the owners of the app will
Yeah.
hold the copyright on that music.
Exactly.
So if you
Yes.
create something at a certain level, they'll say, yes, you've created it. It doesn't have any other copyright claim on it,
No.
but you will have limitations on what you can do. You can
That's right.
only earn from what you've created with them,
Yeah.
because unless you have paid in a certain level that makes you a partner with that
Yeah.
app, then they're not going to let you have the royalties on it, right?
Exactly. Which is why really, like, in all honesty, like, I like to, it's like I had a manager one time years ago that said, here's the way it is. Look straight ahead at the tunnel. You're gonna have people look for the light, keep going towards the light. Everything on the side's going to try and stop you all along the way, and they'll come out and jump at you and give you great deals, and you're going to have great possibilities. But as
Right.
long as you go towards where you know where you're going to get the result you want, then you just go with that. And I still focused on that. I have to be.
No, that
Yeah.
is good advice. And there are a lot of things to distract you along the way, especially in creative work, right?
Especially,
And other creative people. It can be exciting, or new creative tools
Oh,
like
yeah.
AI. It can be
Yeah.
exciting. Some of the things that are happening with AI are also not just creating new music, but taking existing music. You can take existing music and take the performance of an artist, teach
Yep.
AI what is this artist's performances like,
Yeah.
and then say, hey, here are my lyrics, right? Your lyrics could be
Yes.
Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Done in that person's voice will perfectly pixelated into that. It just it doesn't sound phony. It sounds
Right.
legit.
It'll
creepy.
sound like an authentic performance of that
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
And it's started to happen. There's the deep fake Drake.
First time I heard that, I was just like, this is incredible. Like, because the quality that Drake produces, like the quality that he has behind what he does, there's nothing to say. This was nothing phony in there, right? Like, he's very, very, like, high production level.
But if they take material that's new
Yeah.
and then have it voiced by an existing artist, or
Yeah.
even an artist who's no longer with us,
Exactly.
and now they have a new sound, new material,
Yeah.
but then there is a whole new brick wall of, is this ethical?
Copyright. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. It's like, this brings up questions. Is it okay to use 10 years from now, we'll be using dead people's voices, like we're like the new Elvis record coming out tomorrow, the new Otis Redding album coming out tomorrow, and will we be okay with that? It's possible we
Well,
live in a world where that's going to be a thing.
some years ago, there was, it wasn't so much that they were using AI, but I mean, this was, I believe, the late 80s
Yeah.
when Nat King Cole, well, he
Yeah.
passed away many decades before.
Many decades before.
His daughter, Natalie Cole, did a re-recording of Unforgettable. That song had been released
Yeah.
for radio.
Yeah.
And so she got nominated for a Grammy
Oh, yeah.
on re-releasing her father's song
Father's song. Yeah.
with her adding new tracks,
It was
her
incredible.
singing.
Yeah, I remember that. That
It was
was
beautifully
amazing.
done.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd
Yeah.
think that's like the time where I feel the music industry and the world had no discomfort with the
No.
idea of bringing back the performance of an
Yeah.
artist who's long gone, because, well, first, that's his daughter.
Yeah.
And so it's the ultimate tribute
Oh,
to
yeah.
her father. And it's
Yeah.
also showing the special inheritance of her art from
Yeah.
her father
Yeah.
and her gift of music. So that, I think that was a level of comfort that people
Yeah.
had, that there was no question, oh, this
No.
should be done, let him rest in peace. No,
Yeah.
there was none of that. And I believe she won. Look that one up. But the
Yeah.
way I remember it is that this
Yeah.
was a Grammy winning performance.
Yes, I'll never forget that. That was absolutely incredible.
It was
Yeah.
unforgettable. It was
Yes.
unforgettable. It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
But
Oh
now
yeah.
what's happening with AI is,
Mhm.
somebody who has a technical ability, they
Yeah.
can fiddle around in a music studio and go, hey, look at what I got. And even if the artist is alive, or the people who represent their estate are saying, hey, you
Yeah.
can't do this,
Yeah.
they can end up getting millions of views, getting a lot of
Yep.
notoriety, and
Oh
still
yeah.
have, perhaps undeserved success by
Yeah.
taking advantage of a world-renowned performer and the
Oh,
sound
for
of their
sure.
voice.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. We're going to talk
Okay.
about our sponsors and supporters. But before we do, we're actually going to hear another song from Jon Stewart. This is The Other Kind on
So much
Cool
fun.
Life Podcast.
believe we'll see again. We're so confused and times are with us. But if we can pretend that I can hear you calling. But if we can pretend my skin will shine in diamonds. But if we can pretend we're under the moon until light takes us. I met you for the love. Teach me, angel, my devotions. You're the good, beautiful one. I'm the other kind. I believe we'll ride again to hell and back in our own minds. But if we can pretend that the birds are not angels. But if we can pretend someone is watching from the sun. But if we can pretend I'll hold you until the light takes us. I met you for the love. Teach me, angel, I have fallen. You're the good, beautiful one.
Those lonely days of lockdowns and isolation are gone for good. Go to www.therealthingdating.com. That's www.therealthingdating.com. It's time to share. Share your time, share your life, share your love. www.therealthingdating.com. Join for free. Upgrade at any time, starting at just $5.99 a month. www.therealthingdating.com. Because it's time. You're listening to the Cool Life Podcast. We'll be back in 3, 2, 1.
Back with more AI and music industry talk with Jon Stewart here on Cool Life Podcast. There's nothing like true creativity and seeing just how it can touch the human heart. And I think that's why music will always be important, no matter how the technologies change. And bring it around to what we've been speaking about and unique performances, and the fact that right now, I mean, it's still very experimental, right? Still, like, although the technology or the concepts have been around for a while,
Right.
it's still early days. And
Exactly.
so some of the things that we're seeing happen might just be like tests, people are trying things out. But as mentioned earlier, the deep fake of the Drake song, which was Winter's Cold. And there was an order for that song to be taken down because Drake didn't perform it. That performance sounds like him, all the characteristics of his voice, the places where he pauses and makes emphasis.
Exactly. Yeah.
It sounds more Drake than Drake.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you do something like that without someone's permission, you've stolen something from that unique performer.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one thing if there's something about this where it's an experiment together, or where it's like, hey, listen, let me present this to you, by the way, and what do you think? Should we do this? It's like that wasn't the conversation. And the song got millions of views.
You sure did.
And people were, you wondered, the audience, people were watching it and coming back and watching some more. Is it just that they don't have that care, the discerning taste to say, listen, that's not him, I'm not going to support this? It was quite the opposite.
No, exactly.
But how do you feel about knowing that somewhere out there they have the technology to recreate your song and put someone else's voice, or recreate your voice and put that into their own song?
Well, I have one thought about this. Me and a lot of musician friends have talked a lot about this, and there was a growing, obviously, concern for this in certain ways. It would be silly to ignore that. I mean, we've gotten to that point, I think, in human existence and human evolution where like everything has been done musically, seemingly already. It's not saying that there's no art left. Of course, there's art left, but what I'm saying is it's what it seems like, right? And so everything's being reproduced over and over. So much reproduction is going on. It's hard to find something that is entirely authentic. It would be hard to find anyways. So when someone's voice is reproduced like that over again, there's a certain part of me that kind of is bothered by it in a way. Yeah, because it's like, where's the authenticity anymore of someone taking the time, the effort to write a song? Look what that person can do, as opposed to look what the software this person has gotten so good to be able to purchase and be able to do that. That's what's going to change that. That's going to change things that way. Regardless, it already has.
Sure.
So there is a certain level of angst, I guess, towards the whole idea that not being human. Not only it's not that it's forced to. They can't deny that there's some things like just like we're talking about the Drake song, the Beatles, the tune.
Right. Well,
You know,
and there's some that are kind of distortions. They have a version of Kurt Cobain
yeah,
singing Black Hole Sun,
okay,
which was a Chris Cornell song.
Yeah.
And like, it didn't need to be done again. And did it need to be done with an amazing artist who's no longer with us?
Yeah.
And is it just because now we can have peanut butter in our chocolate? Hey, you've got your
Exactly.
chocolate in my peanut butter. Is it that
Exactly.
we're looking to have that new kind of a mashup at all costs anyway? And why? And these are things which basically, when the estates of the concerned parties get involved, it's a matter of,
Yeah.
well, take this down because we find it distasteful, or you
Yeah.
can leave it up if we get a portion of it. Some artists have no problem with their voices being used randomly as long as there's a set amount of royalties coming to them.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I think David Byrne, I think he when Microsoft first became a thing, his voice is on every Microsoft product out there. Like,
Right.
he's got to be rolling in it. You'd think he would be. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Well,
just so.
they had a special agreement for that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's just that's insane. For how many years? Like, it's one thing to have your voice or your name in commercials for years, but be some of a product that is sold worldwide so much for so long, and he's got to think that it's got to be like how much was this deal for him?
Oh, I think it was a pretty juicy deal, my friend.
It must have been, yeah.
But he's an intelligent person and a highly creative person, highly
Yeah,
successful. I mean,
exactly.
I can listen
Exactly.
to David Byrne morning, noon, and night. It's no accident that he got to where he is. And it's no accident
No,
that
sure,
Microsoft
for
was
sure. Yeah,
interested in having him as poster boy or poster voice for their products. I mean, those are the kind of good deals a good manager can put together for you, and with an to also knows how to wake up, turn up, stand and deliver, right? And so that's like a great combination. I'm
yeah,
sure there are other people who would be, just as talented. Did they have
yeah,
as good a manager to make a good deal like this? Or did they show enthusiasm when it was time to take the meeting, right?
yeah,
With Microsoft, did they turn up at the meeting and just say, listen, you guys don't need me here for this. This is stupid. The different kinds of reactions that are coming down as mentioning, from artists, some artists are horrified, and some are keeping quiet and letting their managers sort
Yeah.
through it, letting their lawyers sort through it. Because the initial reaction is, this is horrible and they're being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
It's hard enough to succeed. Entertainment industry, barely 1% of, and I mean across the board. I think with actors, it's closer to 2%, but across the board for actors and musicians, and especially with musicians,
Yep.
it's something that hovers around 1%
Yep.
of musicians who go into the industry who actually are able to make a living at
A
it.
living. It's almost impossibility now. Like, it
and,
really is.
and who are
And
actually able to work consistently.
yeah.
Right. And it's like, if they're working consistently and start to have a following and start to be able to, finance their own projects.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily mean they're swimming in money as yet.
No.
And then if they get to a point where, the money was good for a while, but then after a while, money's gone, right?
Yeah.
Because, things cost money. It's like, yeah, you had
They do.
a great run, you had a great 10, 15 years, but
Yeah.
hey, look, I'm still alive. And that
Yeah.
money's gone, and then you gotta find a way to keep body and soul together. And maybe they
Yeah.
didn't want to sell out and do music for commercials,
Yep.
right? Or music for, kids' TV shows or something.
Exactly.
And all of the thought and pain and labor and starving and,
Yeah.
alienating your parents and having them say, listen, get a real job. What's wrong with you, kid?
Oh, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with me? Why'd you send me to music lessons? That's what's wrong with
Exactly.
me.
Yeah. Started in your garage.
But it's like, once you've gone through all of that, and to have someone go click, 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 enter, and that's it.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you get to take so many lectures from friends or family,
Oh
or
yeah. Oh yeah.
fight and put your foot down that you're not changing this part of the music because I wrote it this way for a reason.
Oh,
And it's like,
exactly.
you go
Exactly.
through all of that, and then
Oh yeah.
some guy in their bedroom, some girl
Yeah.
in their bedroom with their laptop, while
Yep.
they're in the middle of playing Fortnite, stop
Yep.
and go.
Exactly. That's a good way of putting it.
And
Middle field
away
of
they
Fortnite.
go
That's
with their stupid light up gaming mouse.
exactly. And they produce your song for you in
Right?
minutes.
And end
Yeah.
up with millions of views, and then end up trying to work
Exactly.
a deal to be,
Yeah.
you know, working with a label because
Yeah.
they're such creative geniuses.
And this is the reality.
But technology is something that, I mean, this is a wheel that moves forward. And there is an opportunity now where, yes, the management of these artists, they're saying, yeah, you can't do this, but
Mhm.
that manager doesn't own the rights to that person's voice. Drake's manager doesn't
No.
own the right. What
No.
is Drake's manager fighting for?
Oh,
If
exactly.
he's saying that I represent Drake, it's like, yeah, well, I'm
Yeah.
taking the sound of Drake's voice, I put it in brand new material. It's
Yeah.
like, well, he's jeopardizing the fact that that manager is supposed to be making a percentage of Drake's money forever
Exactly.
and ever, amen. How does
Yeah.
he get a percentage of your money if he doesn't have a deal with you?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so that manager, they're going to bat for their own interests,
Oh, for sure.
really.
For
And
sure.
the artist, the artist isn't a lawyer. They aren't a
No.
manager. They can't say, I will personally sue you 1-to-1.
Yeah,
And
not at all. No. It's not gonna happen.
and so then you know the music industry is rife with all kinds of lawsuits anyway. And
There
it's
is.
like, and then on top of it, is there a chance for the managers to have a second thought, and a chance for the labels to have a second thought and say, wow, you can go click, 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 and do we even need this artist who's costing us what every time we play this?
Well, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing. You know what's funny? I think it even goes. It's still. I wouldn't be even shocked to find out that lawyers are still in court over Napster. You know, like I wouldn't be surprised one bit if to find that out, because like that is exactly what you're just saying. Like it is true. You know, and this is a revolving door. It never ends. You know, there's so many legal problems with everything, even with the problems with songs in the last few years being banned and stuff. That's just a minor thing. There's many different types of like they were saying about like a you know, there's the musician, and then underneath the water that you don't see of the hundreds of people that make that happen, and the legal team behind the music lawyers are just there's so many, you know.
Entertainment lawyers.
Entertainment lawyers.
Oh yeah.
You know, remember the first time I walked in S.L. Feldman's office? I think it was about I was about 19. Man, you saw all the gold records in there. And you're just looking at them like, wow, look, there's Brian Adams, Alanis Morissette, you know, wow, you know, look at that thing, thinking, yep, this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
No.
Yeah, well, there's something about it. I mean, knowing that you have a talent, you have something
Yeah.
that people want to hear, and
Yeah.
that to be able to participate in your art at the highest possible level.
Exactly.
That's a
Yeah.
normal desire.
It is.
I don't think anybody with any kind of talent says that they want to have that talent so they can keep playing air guitar in their bedroom. Airbrush. That you want to. I never did that. That you, my instruments were always real, but I just never wanted to wreck my nails. So. And so we're going to take a break. We're going to talk about our sponsors and our supporters. We'll be back with more AI and music talk on Cool Life Podcast.
Those lonely days of lockdowns and isolation are gone for good. Go to www.therealthingdating.com. That's www.therealthingdating.com. It's time to share. Share your time, share your life, share your love. www.therealthingdating.com. Join for free. Upgrade at any time, starting at just $5.99 a month. www.therealthingdating.com. Because it's time. This is Cool Life Podcast. Please remember to subscribe to Cool Life on your streaming service and on YouTube as Hellenique Today. That's HELENIQUE Today. Because that helps us to bring more cool stuff to your ears. You're listening to the Cool Life Podcast. We'll be right back.
And we are back on Cool Life Podcast. I'm Eva John, continuing our conversation with John Stewart. And we are talking about AI and his industry. And in this case, what we've been talking about so far is the artists, what they're going through, trying to protect their own unique sound and their voices being used quite often without any of their permission or knowledge. And in the end, we wonder what is happening with the key part of this formula, which is the audience, the listener, the customer who's buying tickets to see that artist live, who's buying the music through streaming services. And in a way, it's kind of, I don't know if it bodes well for the musicians, in that the fact that millions of people have been watching the deep fake videos of fake Drake and fake Kanye.
Yep.
Right? There's Roberto Nixon, who has done some extensive deep fake Kanye music.
Wow.
And, he's just this, average fella who said, well, his voice is nothing like Drake's, but what he's done is he's put together his raps and his tunes
Using Kanye's voice?
in Kanye West's voice.
Whoa.
And saying, well, this is new material. And people are impressed by it. And
that's the humanity right there.
part of me wants to hear that people are saying, we're going to boycott this. We do not want to hear this.
Yeah.
But I think there's a slippery slope where, if someone that just wants to put on some tunes and then get on their stationary bike, they want to just go to the gym and hear something that's going to kind of keep them motivated while they're going, and don't realize or don't care that what they're listening to at that moment and through their AirPods is AI and just a program creating something that, or rather recreating something that isn't authentic. And that slippery slope, I mean, I remember once upon a time, a different slippery slope, when cinemas first started to put commercials on before the movie. I don't know if you remember, the first time it happened, after several months, they actually stopped because the audience would boo and hiss.
Oh my.
And nobody wanted commercials because they found it offensive. We felt automatically we were a captive audience. We couldn't go anywhere. We wanted to be there for the movie, and you were force feeding us commercials, telling us to buy this car, telling us to buy that record. And people were offended to the point that consistently in any cinema before there was nobody just sitting complacently or even saying anything positive or saying, oh, I want to hear this commercial. That was
of course not. No, of course not.
It was met on with actual anger. So they stopped. But what they did was they waited a couple of years and then they brought it back. A little here, a little there. That's kind of a general announcement about the cinema, a general announcement about the industry, and a word from a director.
Slowly slipping it back.
And now, I mean, people are sitting there watching the commercials like zombies, and they don't feel like they're zombies because they don't remember that their parents and their older sisters and their older cousins and uncles were booing and hissing and putting their foot down and rebelling against it. And now it's been slowly reintroduced to the point that people don't remember now.
It's like magic. It's like magic, like just subtle hints of magic dust in order to get the point across. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's exactly it. I mean, that is what that's exactly it.
They just
Can't
kind of
deny it. You can't deny that.
reprogrammed the
Yeah,
audience to
yeah.
accept this.
Over time, and you know what? And these companies, I'm sure these big companies like Universal, Warner, and all them, Sony, they don't care if it takes 20 years to get to that target. They know where their targets are in 20 years, right? And so of course they're going to be like that.
A lot of these prominent artists, what are they
Yeah.
going to be doing? Not every artist has the longevity
No,
of
it's
someone
true.
like Mick Jagger. Right? Not
Oh,
everyone
yeah,
has the
no,
longevity of someone like Paul McCartney. Even Paul
yeah,
McCartney doesn't have his longevity because they have an AI version of one of his songs. Truly, the title escapes me at the moment, but
yeah.
they have it revoiced. So it was made, I think, about 10 years ago,
Yeah,
and he was like early 70s. And then
yeah.
they changed his voice to sound like a younger Paul McCartney singing. Does the quality of his voice changed a little?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, especially by the time he was in the Wings. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So what they did was they revoiced this same
To the
artist.
she loves you, the kind of Paul McCartney. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mr. Shaggy haired,
yeah,
smooth pipes,
yeah,
smooth voice,
yeah, yeah.
and
Smooth
people
jazz
like it.
voice. Yeah, exactly,
People
exactly.
like it. And it's like,
Yeah,
what does that say? Now it's saying something about ageism.
it
Saying,
could be.
right? I mean, Johnny Cash,
Yeah.
before he passed away, he did some great songs and some
I think it was
collaborations,
at the best. He sounded great. I don't know. Yeah,
and it wasn't a young man's voice. It
no,
was
no.
his authentic voice.
Authentic. You know, like this is a man that's is born of age. It
And
keeps
experience, right?
the extreme experience. Oh yeah,
and emotion that can come across that
yeah.
from a life experience that maybe a 25-year-old Johnny Cash can't quite bring.
No,
And
exactly.
I think
Well, the
every
natural vibrato in his voice near the end of his life was insane to listen to. It was
and I feel like all stages of our life are necessary and important and
yeah,
valuable.
yeah.
But then if AI technology is going to be used to strip away that older man, older woman's voice, and in the
Oh,
case of Paul
exactly.
McCartney, to strip away the years in his voice to make him sound
Yeah.
younger, and people liked it, and people are interested, they want to
Yeah. Well,
listen to it.
there's one thing though too. Eva, like I think throughout history, we've had this time where like in cycles of 10 years or more, where commercialized music becomes the forefront of everything, and everyone gets out of their head about a fad or whatever, and it just happens. And I think that gap of 10-year span has gotten way closer now than what it ever has because of this, because of AI technology and just the way the world has been ramping up in the last 20 years since the 90s. How much life has changed since the 90s is a lot, you know. But it seemed to be before that, every 10 years, we have resurgence of commercialized music. And I think what Kurt Cobain did, what artists like our local guy Chaos is kind of responsible for this too in that genre, was when they decided, no, we don't want to do a bunch of colorful bubblegum stuff. We want to get right back to the roots and do that's what's real and authentic, right? And I think that's still come around once every 10 years as a resurgence where people need to be human again because they're so sick of the commercialism. But
I hope so.
it's they just it's what happens. You get all this transistory sounding stuff, and no, I want a tube noise. I want the real thing. But I think AI is the grossest example of that. I think of the commercialized world, right?
It is the ultimate leap ahead in technology
It is
these
we've
days,
ever seen.
to the point that anything can occur in music at this point.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just, are we going to permit it?
exactly. Yeah.
And with that, we're at the
Yep.
end of part one of our discussion of AI and music. Keep an eye on our schedule to see our part two conversation with John Stewart. Until next time, I'm Eva John, Cool Life Podcast. Bye.
Thank you, Eva.
And that was our show. Thank you for listening to the very end. Please remember to subscribe through your streaming service to get more access to our guest interviews. Also, please subscribe on YouTube to help support our podcast. Until next time, I'm Eva John for Cool Life Podcast. Thank you for turning me on.